So, my dad called me last Tuesday, right? And the first thing he says is, "Where's your car?" Not, "Hey, sweetie, how are you?" Not, "How's work?" Just straight up, "Where's your car?" And I'm standing there in my kitchen holding a coffee that's gone cold, and I'm like, "What do you mean, where's my car? It's at the mechanic. I told you that last week." But
Why is
there's
her
this
car for
weird
sale?
tone in
Who
his
did
voice,
this?
you know? Like he knows something I don't. And he goes, "No, honey, your car's not at the mechanic. It's in Marcus's driveway with a for sale sign on it." And that's when my whole world just stopped, because Marcus is my husband, or was my husband. I don't even know what to call him anymore. And I definitely didn't put my car up for sale. I'm thinking, okay, this is some kind of mistake, right? Maybe Dad drove past the wrong house. Maybe he's confused. But my dad doesn't get confused. He's a retired detective, for crying out loud. The man notices everything. So I'm like, "Dad, that doesn't make any sense. Why would Marcus put my car up for sale?" And there's this long pause, this terrible, heavy pause. And then he says, "Baby, I think you need to come over right now. Don't call Marcus, don't text him, just come over." The drive to my parents' house was only 15 minutes, but it felt like hours. My hands were shaking on the steering wheel of the rental car I'd been driving while mine was supposedly in the shop. That's what Marcus told me, by the way. 3 weeks ago, he said my transmission was shot, that it needed serious work, that his buddy's shop would give us a deal. I believed him. Of course I believed him. Why wouldn't I? We'd been married for 2 years, together for 5. You don't question someone you love like that. At least, I didn't. Not until that phone call. When I got to my parents' place, my mom was waiting on the porch. She had that look on her face, you know the one, where she's trying so hard to keep it together, but you can see everything falling apart behind her eyes. She hugged me tight, didn't say a word, just squeezed me like she was trying to hold all my pieces together before they scattered. My dad was inside at the kitchen table with his laptop open. He looked up at me and said, "Sit down, sweetheart." I sat. What else was I gonna do? He turned the laptop toward me. It was a Facebook Marketplace listing. My car, my midnight blue Honda Civic that I'd bought myself with my own money 3 years ago. The car I loved. The listing said, "Well-maintained, low miles, clean title, must sell quickly, serious inquiries only." Posted 6 days ago by Marcus. I stared at that screen and I felt like I was looking at my life through someone else's eyes, like I'd stepped into a different dimension where nothing made sense anymore. I said, "I don't understand. Why would he do this?" My dad closed the laptop slowly. He said, "There's more, honey, and you're not gonna like it." Turns out, my dad had been suspicious for a while. Little things that didn't add up. Marcus saying he was working late, but his car being at his mom's house at 9 p.m. on a weeknight. Me mentioning that Marcus said his mom was sick, but my dad seeing her out shopping, laughing with friends, looking perfectly fine. My dad didn't want to worry me without proof, so he did what any ex-cop would do. He started paying attention, started digging, and what he found was so much worse than a car being sold without my permission. My dad pulled out his phone and showed me photos, time-stamped photos. Marcus and his mom, Diane, at a lawyer's office downtown. Marcus and Diane at the bank, the one where we had our joint account. Marcus and Diane having lunch at this fancy restaurant I'd been begging him to take me to for months. My dad said, "I ran the plates on some cars in that lawyer's parking lot. One of them belonged to an estate attorney, specializes in wills, trusts, asset transfers." I felt sick, actually sick. I said, "Dad, what are you telling me?" He sat down across from me, took my hands. He said, "Marcus and his mother have been moving money around. Your joint account has been slowly draining for the past 2 months. Small amounts at first so you wouldn't notice, then bigger chunks. He's been transferring it to an account in his mother's name." I couldn't breathe. I literally couldn't catch my breath. My mom got me a glass of water. I drank it. It didn't help. I said, "How much?" My dad said, About $42,000. $42,000. That was my inheritance from my grandmother, my sweet, beautiful Nana who died a year and a half ago and left me everything she had because I was the one who visited her every week, who held her hand through chemo, who stayed up with her when she was scared. That money was sacred to me. I'd put it in our joint account because Marcus said we should build our future together, that keeping money separate meant I didn't trust him. I trusted him. God, I was so stupid. But it gets worse. Oh, it gets so much worse. My dad said, "There's something else. I didn't want to show you this until I was sure," but he pulled up another photo. This one was a screenshot from the county clerk's website, a marriage certificate, dated 3 months ago. Marcus Allen Patterson and Diane Louise Patterson. No, wait. Marcus Allen Patterson and Diane Louise Hendricks, different last name. I stared at it. I read it 3 times. I said, "I don't understand. This is his mom. This has to be fake." My dad zoomed in on the certificate. He said, "Look at the middle name. Look at the birth date." Diane Louise Hendricks, born April 7th, 1989. That would make her 36 years old. Marcus is 33. I looked at my dad. I looked at my mom. My mom had tears streaming down her face. I said, "That's not his mom." My dad said, "No, baby, that's not his mom. His real mother, Ruth Patterson, died when she was 12. I found the obituary. Diane is someone he met 4 years ago, right before he met you. She's been pretending to be his mother this entire time." I threw up. Right there in my parents' kitchen, I ran to the sink and threw up everything in my stomach. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. But even as I was denying it, pieces were clicking into place. Diane never had any photos of Marcus as a child. She always said they were lost in a house fire. Marcus and Diane never showed affection, never hugged, barely touched. I thought they just had a formal relationship. I thought it was a cultural thing, a personality thing. I never questioned it because why would you question something like that? Who pretends their girlfriend is their mother? Who does that? My dad let me process. He let me cry, let me rage, let me fall apart on their kitchen floor. Then he said, "There's more." I actually laughed. Like a crazy person, I laughed. I said, "More? What else could there possibly be?" He said, "They got married 3 months ago. The wedding you've been planning with Marcus, the one that's supposed to happen in 2 weeks, he's already married. And according to the bank records I pulled, he's been funneling your money into buying a house in Diane's name. They close on it next Friday." Next Friday, 5 days before our wedding. The wedding we'd been planning for a year. The wedding I'd paid for. Oh my God, I'd paid for everything. The venue, the flowers, the photographer, the dress. I'd used my savings, my credit cards. Marcus said his money was tied up in investments, that he'd pay me back after they matured. I believed him. The deposits, the payments, the planning, it was all me. He just showed up to tastings and smiled and told me how beautiful everything was going to be. I called him. Right there in front of my parents, I called him. It rang 4 times. Then he picked up. He said, "Hey babe, what's up?" So casual, so normal, like he wasn't a lying, stealing, con artist psychopath. I said, "Where's my car, Marcus?" Silence. Long, terrible silence. Then he said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "My car, the one you said was at the mechanic, the one that's actually in your driveway with a for sale sign on it, that car, where is it?" I could hear him breathing. I could hear someone in the background, a woman's voice saying something I couldn't make out. Diane, had to be. He said, "Listen, I can explain." I said, "Explain what? Explain why you're selling my car without telling me? Explain why $42,000 is missing from our account? Explain why you're married to Diane? Or should I say, explain why your girlfriend has been pretending to be your mother for 4 years?" The line went dead. He hung up on me. Just straight up hung up. I called back, voicemail. Again, voicemail. I texted him, "If you don't call me back in 5 minutes, I'm calling the police." 3 minutes later, my phone rang. Different number. It was Diane. Her voice was different. Not the sweet, motherly voice I'd known. Cold. Hard. She said, "You need to calm down and think about this rationally." I said, "Rationally? You've been scamming me for years, and you want me to be rational?" She said, "It's not a scam. It's a partnership. Marcus and I have been together for 6 years. We have a system. We meet people, we build relationships, we invest in our future. You were supposed to be a stepping stone, but you got too attached." I couldn't speak. I literally could not form words. She continued, "The money isn't yours anymore. The house is in my name. The car will be sold by tomorrow. And if you try to stop the wedding or cause problems, we'll file a restraint order and claim you're unstable. We have documentation, texts from you that sound obsessive, photos we've staged. Marcus is very good at covering his tracks." I said, "You're insane. Both of you are insane." She laughed. Actually laughed. She said, "No, sweetheart, we're smart. There's a difference. Good luck proving anything. We'll be long gone by the time you figure out how to start." She hung up. I looked at my dad. I said, "They're running. They're going to take everything and disappear." My dad smiled. Not a happy smile, a dangerous smile. The smile of a man who'd spent 30 years catching criminals. He said, "Not if I catch them first." See, here's the thing about my dad. He might be retired, but he's got friends. Lots of friends. Friends in the police department, in the FBI, in the district attorney's office. Friends who owe him favors. And when he told them what was happening to his daughter, they listened. Turns out, Marcus and Diane had done this before. Twice before, actually. Different names, different cities, same scam. They'd find someone vulnerable, someone with money or assets, build a relationship, drain them dry, and disappear before anyone caught on. They had fake IDs, fake social security numbers, fake everything. The house they were buying? It was their exit strategy. They'd flip it immediately, take the cash, and disappear. Probably to another state, another identity, another victim. But my dad's friends moved fast. By that night, there was a warrant out for both of them. Fraud, identity theft, grand larceny, conspiracy. The police went to Marcus's place. No one was there. The house was half-packed, boxes everywhere, my car already gone. They'd sold it that afternoon, for cash. But here's where they messed up. They were too confident, too cocky. Diane had posted on her real Facebook account, the one under her real name, a photo from a hotel in Charlotte. She'd tagged the location. Dumb move. The kind of move people make when they think they've already won. The cops picked them up at 4 in the morning. They were literally in bed, sleeping, probably dreaming about their new house and their new life built on my money. I didn't find out until later, but Marcus tried to run, jumped out a second-story window in his boxers, and tried to sprint across the parking lot. They tackled him in front of a Denny's. Diane just cried and said she didn't know anything, that Marcus had manipulated her, that she was a victim too. They didn't buy it.
I got a call from a detective the next morning. She said, "We have them. They're both in custody. We'll need you to come down and give a statement." I went. I told them everything. Every lie, every manipulation, every moment I'd trusted them and they'd used it against me. It took hours. By the end, I was exhausted, empty, but also weirdly relieved, because it was over. Or at least the worst part was over. The wedding was supposed to happen in 13 days. I had to cancel everything. The venue, the caterer, the photographer, the flowers. Some of them refunded me, some of them didn't. I lost about $8,000 that I'll never get back. The dress is hanging in my closet. I can't look at it, can't touch it. My mom offered to donate it, but I'm not ready yet. Maybe one day, maybe not. I'm okay with either option right now. But here's the thing that still gets me, the thing that keeps me up at night sometimes. Marcus and I were together for 5 years. 5 years, and I never knew, never suspected. He was good. They both were. Every smile, every I love you, every plan we made for the future, it was all calculated, all fake. And the worst part? Some tiny, stupid part of me still wonders if any of it was real, if he ever actually cared, even a little bit. My therapist says that's normal, that my brain is trying to make sense of something senseless. She's probably right. My dad asked me a few months ago if I regretted anything, if I wished I'd seen the signs earlier, been smarter, been less trusting. I told him no, because here's what I learned. You can't protect yourself from people like that by being suspicious of everyone. You can't live your life assuming everyone's out to get you. Marcus and Diane were professionals. They knew what they were doing. And yeah, I got hurt. I got destroyed, actually. But I survived. And I'm not gonna let what they did turn me into someone scared and bitter and closed off. I still believe in love. I still believe in trust. I still believe that most people are good. But I also believe in joint accounts with limited access. I believe in keeping some things separate. I believe in asking questions, in trusting my gut, in paying attention to the small, weird things that don't quite add up. I believe in being smart without being cynical. It's a balance. I'm working on it. Last month, I got a letter. From Marcus. From prison. My mom wanted me to burn it without reading it, but I opened it. I needed to see what he'd say. It was short, just a few lines. I'm sorry for what I did. I know that doesn't mean anything now, but I need you to know that parts of it were real. Not all of it, but parts. You deserved better. I hope you find it. I read it 3 times. Then I did burn it, because whether parts of it were real or not doesn't matter. What matters is that he made a choice. Every single day for 5 years, he chose to lie to me, and I'm choosing to move forward. I saw Diane's mugshot online a few weeks ago. They update the prison database every month. She looks old, tired, nothing like the woman who used to bake me cookies and tell me I was the daughter she never had. I don't feel sorry for her. I don't feel angry anymore either. I just feel nothing. And that's probably the healthiest thing I've felt about her in a long time. So yeah, that's my story. That's what happened when my dad called me and asked, "Where's your car?" One question that unraveled my entire life. But you know what? I'm glad he asked. I'm glad he noticed. I'm glad he cared enough to dig deeper, to protect me, to catch them before they could disappear forever. Because if he hadn't, I'd probably still be planning a wedding to a man who was already married. I'd still be trusting people who saw me nothing but a payday. I'd still be living a lie. Now I'm living the truth. And the truth is messy and complicated, and sometimes it hurts like hell. But it's mine. It's real. And after everything, that's all I really want. Something real. So if you're listening to this and thinking, how could she not know? How could she be so blind? Trust me, I've asked myself that 1,000 times. But the answer is simple. I loved him. I trusted him. And love and trust make you vulnerable. That's not a weakness. It's just part of being human. The trick is learning who deserves that vulnerability and who's just looking for an opening to exploit it. I'm still learning, but I'm getting better. And my car? Well, it's out there somewhere. Some stranger is driving it, probably has no idea what that car represents. Maybe that's better. Maybe it's better that it's gone, that I had to start fresh with something new. Metaphor and all that. My therapist would be proud of that observation. My dad calls me every morning. First thing he says is, "How are you today, baby girl?" Not, "Where's your car?" Not anymore. And every time, I smile, because I know the answer. I'm okay. I'm healing. I'm free. And that's more than I could say a year and a half ago. So that's it. That's my story. The story of how my life fell apart because of a simple question about a car, and how I put it back together piece by piece. It's not a fairy tale. There's no perfect ending, but it's mine. And I'm still here, still standing, still believing. And honestly, that's the biggest middle finger I could possibly give to Marcus and Diane. They tried to break me. They failed. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure that failure haunts them every single day they sit in that cell. Thanks for listening.